Okay, today we're going to take a quick look at the CAT interface in AIO. This interface is also available as a standalone on the download page. First switch is the power switch, which actually turns it on and off. Right below that is polling. If that's turned on, then the CAT interface will poll the rig every second. Otherwise, if it's off, any change you make on the rig will not be reflected in the CAT interface. Okay, below that is F, which is forward, which means bring this rig forward and make it stand on top of any other application. Auto mode set, on and off, excuse me. If you notice right below the frequency display, it tells you what modes are applicable to this section of the frequency spectrum. So with auto mode set and you change into that frequency, it'll automatically set the mode. If you turn that off, it'll save that setting so the next time you bring it up, it'll be turned off. Below that is switches for the ICOM rig, which is 1 through 7, and we'll talk about that later in the setup screen. Below that, you can select the COM port. In this setup, I have two rigs set up, one on COM2, the FT857, and on COM5, I have the TS850. You can see once it's switched over there, it picked up the frequency and so forth. Okay, the split switch does exactly what it says. If you turn that on, it'll put your rig into split mode. Gen is for general receive. That takes away the restrictions of the bands in amateur radio, so you can cover from basically 100 all the way up to 30 meg. Stream we'll talk about in a minute. Filter is a two-function switch, or a two-step switch. In order to get your CW into the filter mode, you would click that on and then hit CW. Sliders are all defined in the command setup screen. In this case, I've defined for the 857. These two are for the filter. This one is for Vox, and this is digital gain. And this one I've set up for mic gain for the FM section of the receiver. Okay, meters. These three buttons display different aspects of the CAT receiver. I'll show you what I mean. If I click it, it changes the meter to something you might like more. I happen to like this one. This one changes the display color. And this one changes the rig design. Okay, this column, as shown, is the mode selection. These two columns are frequency, 3 actually. PTT1 and PTT0 are defined in the command setup, and this basically turns your transmit on in non-CW mode, and this turns it off. Scan. You can scan with the CATRig, so in order to set that up, you just right-click on the button, and you can set the number of seconds between scans, the start frequency, end frequency, and the increment. You can also set it up so that when the rig hears a signal, it'll stop the scan by starting the VU meter and setting the height or the sensitivity. Once that's set up, you left-click on scan to turn it on and off. Skim turns on and off the communications with the skimmer. and transmit turns the transmitter on and off. If it's in CW mode, it will send the carrier. If it's not, it'll send the sideband signal. One thing we forgot to talk about is setup, how to get this thing running. So let's go do that. We will click on port settings, and this screen lets us set up communications with the CAT receiver. Okay, there's 8 ports available, and you can see I've got a couple rigs defined already. First thing you'd want to do if you have a WinKeyer is set that up. All you do is just select it from the drop down in the appropriate COM port. And then, let's see, let's pick one I haven't set up yet. I'm going to set this one up for the FT857 and select the WinKey is on COM3 as the keyer port. When it does that, it asks me to select key 1 or key 2 as the output, which is down here. So I'll select key 1. Then I set the baud rate over here on the left side for 800 to start bits, and RTS should be on. Also, another thing you want to do is, by the way, that's pretty much it for setting up communications with the rig. You want to set your default port, so when the CAT interface starts up, it'll go to that port. And if you're using beverage port, you can set that here. You can look in the help file on how to build an interface for the beverage. And if you're using a parallel port input for your paddle, you choose that here. Okay, one more thing. This column. This is the virtual port connection to CW Skimmer. I've previously set up a virtual pair on port 15 and 16. I put CW Skimmer on port 16, and now I set COM15 for AIO. So now AIO will communicate with CW Skimmer. These two checkboxes tell AIO whether or not to update CW Skimmer when you update the rig, or vice versa. Okay, a couple other things. Excuse me. QRZ setup. If you have a QRZ XML subscription to QRZ.com, you can set that up here. Basically, all you do is put in your password that you put in QRZ, or your login and your password. Once you do that, and click Get New Key, it'll go out, and so you can see there I just clicked it and it went out and got a new key. You don't have to do that because it'll do it automatically. If you have QRZ on a disk, then you can change that to this selection, and that tells AIO to go out to the disk to get the data, which is handy if you're in the field. Although QRZ doesn't sell that disk anymore, so you would have to already have one. Okay, WinKeyer. On this tab, you can set up your WinKey and hit save and initialize the key. You really only have to do that once. CW speed is for the practice mode, because it doesn't affect the WinKeyer, but in the practice mode you can fine-tune the CW speed with these values. Okay. Back to the CATRig. In setup, you also have an antenna tuner settings screen. Let me bring that up. This is handy if you have a manually tuned antenna tuner. Once you've got it set up on this section of the band, you can put those settings in here, so the next time you come back to this section again, you can see what you had set the tuner at. Command setup. Let me bring that up. Okay, this screen allows you to set up a rig that's not already set up in AIO. I'm going to bring up the FT857. Okay, as you can see, this one is set up to send hex. And if you were working with a Kenwood, you'd turn that off because Kenwood sends ASCII. Let's just pick one field here. Okay, AF gain. If you want to send AF gain, that's the command, and then this tells the system to get that value from the AF gain slider, which is the very left one. And then this is the suffix to the command. And this tells AIO what the value of the slider should be. So it's going to be set between 100 and 1. And then on the reverse side, if I want to get what's in the AF gain, I come down here and put this in. This is the command that tells it to go get the AF gain. This tells AIO that the data received will be at position 1 and it's 2 bytes long. This is the command that will be received, and the response is at position 3, 2 bytes long, and what it's looking for is 32. Okay. The function keys. You have function 1 through 9, and let's pick the tone. I've set up my function keys so that it works with a repeater. So to set the tone, I've told it that it needs a value, and there's the command. I'll show you how you put that value in a little bit. Well, you set up all the aspects of the repeater in these functions. And let me go back to the rig so you can see what the other half of that is. So I'll update that and close it. Okay, down here, tone. You can see that it does display on the button since I put that in the setup. To set the value, you right-click on it, and you see there's already a value in there, so this has already been set up. 747, and that's the tone value. And then right-click it to get back to normal. And once you've set that up, you click on the memory, put in a description, and then you would end up on this screen. Okay, so it shows you the rig, frequency, the description, and all the function keys and how they're set. Okay, you can also set this up as a scanner here at the bottom. So if you want to use this to scan frequencies, you can give the start and stop frequency, the seconds in between scans, and then you start here. You can also set it so that it listens to the rig, so when it's a signal, it stops the scan. That would be here, so you'd start VU, which looks at that meter reading. Okay, that's the functions. You can see what they are by clicking the function key. Okay, to tune it, if you left click, lots of different ways you can tune this. If you left click on the knob, you can, as you move left and right, it changes the frequency. If you right click on it, it changes it faster. There's a slider at the bottom. It goes all the way across the radio. You can see that. That's a rough tune. There's some arrow keys. Tunes up and down. Or indexed by signal unit. So if I click up, it'll go up and down. And you set the size of the jump here. So if I click 1, it'll go up 1 megahertz. Okay, what have we missed here? Oh, voice. This little section here. If you turn this on, it'll announce the frequency change and some other things. It'll announce what button you're on and so forth. If you select your VFO with these two buttons, A and B, and whether or not red is turned on. I don't have XIT defined. Okay, one last thing is the streaming radio. If you click stream, you see it opens up here, and if you go to memory edit, actually wrong one, go into setup, you have a streaming audio list, and if you click on one of those, double click on it, it'll go out and get that frequency. Okay. And we'll turn that back off. Okay, that's, well, let me see what else we missed here. Oh, yeah. Debug window allows you to set up a rig or look at what's being set. You see that since I've got it set up for polling, that it's doing that. Let me turn that off. Polling's turned off now. And I can clear the screen. And basically, things that are sent from the CAT to the rig are shown in this top box, and things received are shown in the bottom box. And on this side, the left side is ASCII, or hex rather, and on the right side shows it in ASCII. At the bottom, you have a little box that you can put in a command and send it to see what kind of response you get from the rig. And let's see here. I think we've talked about everything. That's it. Thank you.